The Model Assistant in Core offers assistance to the systems engineer by automating key tasks, specifically tasks that help keep your model consistent and well-connected. There are currently 10 options in the Model Assistant, and all 10 are enabled by default. This screencast will give detail on each option so that you can select which best meet the needs of your team. Let's start with the Auto-Create Root Functions option. Root functions are an essential connector between the logical and physical aspects of the model. This option automates the process of creating a root function for every component you create, moving this sometimes cumbersome task behind the scenes. As we work through the features of the Model Assistant, we'll use a model I've created that captures an overview of making coffee. Notice that right now there are no elements in my model. I'll create my top-level system component, Coffee System. Now, look at my project pane. There is now an element in my function class. The Model Assistant created _perform making coffee functions and allocated it to my component. After creation, this function can be edited as you would edit any element in Core. Just like root functions, root states are an essential connector between logical and physical aspects of the model. The Auto-Create Root States capability of the Model Assistant took action when I created a component, creating a state element and linking it to my component through the exhibited by relationship. This root state will house the state decomposition for the component. Although logical and physical representations are usually shown separately, they are still views of the same model. Much as you can pick up a cube and rotate it to look at any given face, this piece of the Model Assistant allows you to look at your model from the perspective of interest. When working in the component class, Core will display the view tabs for the related logical representations. If the component you are working on is performed by a function and the behavior type is set to integrated root, you can click on the Logical View tab to view it. Core also displays the view tabs for the related state transition diagram. By enabling this option, users can directly open logical views on physical objects if the physical object has a root function or root state. This significantly simplifies navigating your system model while reinforcing the connected nature of the model itself. As your model expands to greater levels of detail and to multiple layers of decomposition, it is important that some elements inherit the conditions of their parents. With this option enabled, when you add a function to another function's decomposition, Core will automatically allocate the child function to the same component as the parent. I'll add a few elements now that show the steps of making coffee during my workday. As I switch over to the property sheet view of one of my elements, let's look at the relationships. Notice this function has been allocated to the same component as the parent function. This is the Model Assistant at work. Similar actions are taken for states. I'll add 2 states to the decomposition of my system state. The Auto-Inclusion of Decomposition of States feature of the Model Assistant detected this action and automatically set the exhibited by relation to the component that exhibits the parent state. For many years, Core has had a filter that allows you to check for functions in your model that have not been allocated to a component. Because a condition of completeness also includes that leaf-level functions are uniquely allocated to a single component, the Model Assistant has an option that will alert you when you are creating a second allocated to relationship. All of my functions have already been allocated to a component. I'll now allocate one of my functions to a different component. Here's the Model Assistant at work again. This dialog will allow you to replace the current allocation with the new, add the new allocation, thus allocating the function to multiple components, or to cancel the new allocation. In this case, I'll cancel the new allocation. Auto-Relate on allocation will help you to reinforce the alignment, integration, and synchronization of your models by ensuring that every function performed by a component is in the behavior model of the component's corresponding root function. Here, I'm creating one last function, only this time I'm working from the hierarchy diagram. I'm creating a new function and now dropping it on the component. Now, as I select the relationship, watch the sequence diagram on the left side of the screen. When I allocated the function to a component, the model assistant worked for me by inserting the new function in the behavior model of the corresponding root function. A similar capability is available for states. With the Auto-Relate on Inclusion feature enabled, when I create the exhibits relationship from a function to a state that is not its root state, Core inserts this state into the decomposition of the component's root state. I'm adding a state through the property sheet of my system component. Notice the behavior type of my new state is atomic. Exhibit Coffee System States is the integrated root. Notice the Ramping Up node was added to the decomposition of the root state. A standard naming convention for interfaces, links, needlines, and transitions is element name 1 / element name 2, reflecting the names of the two elements. With the Auto Maintain Connector Names feature enabled, Core auto-generates and maintains the names of these connector elements. As I create my transition element, it appears to be generically named. When it is committed to the database, the name changes to reflect the two nodes it connects. When I rename one of the connected nodes, the name of the connector element is maintained by the model assistant. One notable benefit of a truly model-based approach is the ability to reason using the model. In order to do this, the model must be complete. So completeness checking is a key capability and one offered by the Check Completeness on Element Modification feature of the Model Assistant. When enabled, each time you modify an element, Core will automatically check the completeness of that element using the completeness rules you've specified for your project. You'll find these completeness check results on the Diagnostic tab of each element. The Model Assistant is ready to work for you. To view a description of the features, just click on Model Assistant in the project pane. Here, you'll find complete descriptions, and you can adjust the settings. Remember that all of the features of the Model Assistant are on by default.